Never Trump takes a bow. That's the focus of tonight's angle. The folks running the New York Times, the Washington Post, they're an intolerant bunch. They bend over backwards to give the benefit of the doubt to, like China, while they endlessly malign President Trump and his followers. And they also hate publishing conservative writers. But they'll make an exception for Republicans who trash Trump, or otherwise echo Democrat talking points. Enter Rich Lowry, whose magazine National Review, back in February 2016, published this Against Trump edition. Well, now in this new Politico magazine piece, Rich Lowry seems pretty self-satisfied. The siege of the Capitol and Trump's post-election challenges gave Lowry a classic "see, I told you so" moment. But of course, he had had 4 years to say these things and is only saying them now because he thinks Trump's finished. He writes in opposition to what former Trump NSC staffer Michael Anton called the Flight 93 election in his famous essay during the 2016 campaign. Now, Anton's point was that Republicans who maybe didn't like Trump's tone or style, they needed to get on board with him in order to save America from the Democrats and all they were planning to do. Well, history has shown that Anton's basic view was correct. The American left has proven itself to be dangerous. The GOP establishment was hapless, and we needed to take a chance on something else. So Anton was 100% right. The chance we took on Trump brought us 4 years of time and 3 good justices on the Supreme Court. Now, Lowry simply ignores the fact that we had the strongest economy in the G7 for the last 3 years of Trump's presidency. Now, do you remember how bright things looked before the damn Wuhan plague hit? I do. And let's not forget that because of Trump, Washington finally challenged China and shifted the national conversation and ended up ending our attitude of weakness toward that dangerous government. Of course, Trump had flaws and made mistakes, don't we all? And given the nightmare of last week and that absurd second impeachment vote, his political capital, it may be spent. We don't know yet. Indeed, a recent Axios Ipsos poll, for all of you who say write Trump off, found that 92% of Trump's supporters would vote for him again in 2024, as would 46% of self-described traditional Republicans. So it's a specious argument to claim Trump made things worse in America. All the problems that we have now would have existed without him, except things would be much worse with Hillary's open borders, flat wages, an unstoppable China, and of course, sky-high taxes. And no one ever said that character and norms don't matter. That was always a straw man argument. But part of character is courage, and part of that includes a willingness to fight for others. And norms that are designed to weaken the voice of the people and make it easier for the left to rule should be disregarded. Now, George W. Bush is largely respected as a good man, and that's across the political spectrum now. But during his presidency, Democrats branded Mr. Nice Guy as a dim-witted frat boy war criminal. His approval rating when he left office? 34%. During Bush's second term, Republicans lost the House, the Senate, and the presidency to Obama. But presumably Lowry and the Never-Trumpers considered that a resounding success. The bottom line is that Lowry, a nice guy, is like a lot of folks who make money only because corporate bigwigs write checks. Like many of the Never-Trumpers, his career is grounded in the 1990s. And look, that was a time when Americans were generally pretty optimistic. The world was generally safe. And the left was held in check by, really, memories of Reagan landslides. He's never been able to accept that the world of the 1990s no longer exists. I don't think if Lowry, does he fear China? I don't know. He doesn't seem to fear AOC or the cancel culture. He doesn't seem to fear globalism or open borders or rising crime rates or big tech. He thinks we should maybe oppose all of that stuff, sure, but in the pleasant, gentle manner of maybe a Mitt Romney warning the kids not to stay out too late. The view seems to be that the left and China and big tech will prevail and our culture is just going to turn into garbage. Our global influence will be lost, and our middle class will be destroyed. But that's no reason for us to stop being genteel. His real fear, the only thing that truly gets him and the rest of the National Review crowd riled up, is of the American people, who he plainly regards as dangerous fanatics in need of controlling. He writes as though what happened on January 6th was some sort of dangerous attempt to take down the Republic instead of a bunch of desperate people who would have been easily handled by a sufficiently staffed Capitol Police. Well, we see how much influence Lowry's got in the party these days. He could only rally 10 House members to impeach Trump. Most of the party, the overwhelming majority in fact, agrees that Anton was right and that we must try harder to save our country. Trump didn't get us all the way there. But back in 1964, Barry Goldwater didn't get us all the way there either. He lost in a landslide, in large part because he was too angry, too stubborn, and too divisive. But the conservatives of that era, including the folks at National Review, never conceded that nominating Goldwater was a mistake. They took the lessons learned in that campaign and kept building their movement until they saved our country. That's what's going on here now. That's what we're going to do here now. As self-indulgent think tanks and snoozy conservative publications continue their slow fade.